let me just go into the reading because I feel like there are a lot of just, disparate things that we need to touch upon. And there isn't so much of a common narrative in terms of, having a one clear direction. But I do see relationships, especially and finances these are great concerns. And so I just want to walk through it with you to see, what's the best way for you to navigate these energies. Okay. First of all, I feel almost as if, in terms of, your work situation, you're making great strides. You're on track for, being able to get promoted, being able to get like a pay increase, a salary increase, or shifting into a very good, position. So I do see vertical movement for many of you, and you're on track regarding, a specific career path where you can advance and gradually climb that corporate ladder. So I feel like you're in a very good position right now. And then I feel like for others of you, though, you might be doing odd jobs here and there. You might be able to network with a lot of people, and especially people in positions of status and power, like people that have a lot of professional connections. So in that stead, you're doing well. However, I do sense that the financial situation here needs to be looked at, okay? So I feel like I'm speaking to two separate groups of Leo people who are watching this. And I feel like for some of you, like half of you probably, um, you're on track for a very, very specific career. And I feel like you're making great strides, great traction. And then others of you who might be, freelancing, doing odd jobs here and there, waiting for a big breakthrough in order to land a more stable job. So I'm sensing that, it can go either way for those two groups. Okay. So depending on which group you fall under, I feel like there are two narratives because the reading is very split between those two groups of people. So first of all, I do feel, you're definitely on the right track. And I do sense that many of you are working very long hours. So there's something here where it indicates to me like irregular hours. So you might be on call. You might, work like very, very long shifts and get more days off. So I'm feeling a lot of people in the healthcare profession, especially like nurses or lab technicians, where you're working like 12-hour shifts, possibly 3 or 4 days a week only, and you have, the rest of the time free. So I'm feeling odd hours, and I'm feeling, you might need to be on your feet quite a long time. And when you go home, you just want to, just lie in bed. So I feel a lot of work that needs to be done. And I do sense as well, you're in some type of a public, you're in a very good position where other people really look up to what you have to say. They hang on to your every word. And I feel that you have a lot of sway over people's opinions, their habits, and, being able to convince them, because it seems like you have accumulated quite a bit of expertise in your field, like professional knowledge, where people look up to you, they trust what you have to say to them, and whatever you tell them, they will follow it. Okay. So they're saying pretty much, your public image looks really good. You come across as somebody who's very trustworthy, very reputable. And I feel for many of you, it's not by accident. I feel that, you have earned your stripes. You have done a lot of things in your past where you actually put yourself in probably precarious situations in order to earn the trust, the respect, and to gain the proper experience for other people to trust you. So I feel like starting this month, the career situations look very, very good for those of you who are on track to get a very good, to be in a very good position and to climb the corporate ladder, get ahead, and get into a very public environment where you will continue your work. Okay. And then the others, I feel like you're working on some type of a contract basis. Okay. So we have here your financial situation, and we have the Five of Cups. And I feel almost like you might be going around showing people, the services that you offer. and you might have, a few clients that you are dealing with, and some of them might have to turn you down. So I feel like in the past it was a little bit difficult in terms of like procuring projects, getting clients to go on board and invest with you, or getting clients to trust you, or getting, certain portfolios. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of artists, and I'm seeing a lot of freelance, like, photographers, wedding planners, um, visual artists, even performing artists, but I'm seeing a lot of art based, like people in the creative industry. And I feel like the past 3 months, things have been very difficult for you financially. And I feel like some of you are even thinking about, can I realistically do this long term? And is it just a better idea overall for me to get into, a regular 9 to 5 job, start from the bottom and work my way up and accumulate the experience over time so that I can have a more stable inflow of money as well as a more stable job. So I feel like some of you, for the past 3 months, you have been really seriously thinking about the trajectory of your career, whether or not it is still worth doing the freelance work, because I feel like there might have been a few like missed opportunities or a few disappointments along the way since the beginning of this year. Okay, since January. So I feel like you're doing some reassessment, and in terms of this card here, the Page of Pentacles, this is kind of like learning new skills, starting from proverbially the bottom of the totem pole. Okay, so even though you have a lot of experience, I feel like your experiences might have been varied. So you might have worked at a bakery, then you might have worked at a bookstore, you might have worked at a coffee shop. So I feel like all of these things, they're meaningful, but I feel that, it's really hard for you, and especially on paper, it's hard for employers, or it's hard for you yourself to see yourself on paper and to, figure out what is the one career track that I should focus on. So I feel like you're doing some, major reassessment, and you do want a more stable job, and you want money coming in on a consistent basis. So starting this month in March, I feel like this energy is coming in heavily for you to really think about how that's going to be possible for you. And I feel like for some of you, there might be constraints within your family unit to kind of force you, or to kind of, there might be pressure to force you to seriously look at this and seriously re-examine it to see whether or not it's feasible. Okay, so that's just what I'm feeling for, the two separate groups of Leo people who might be watching this. In terms of, financial outflow, what I'm sensing is some of you, there's a lot of money being, whatever you're making, I feel like more than half of your paycheck is going towards the family. Okay. So this can be the physical rent for the house. You might be in an area that is, there's high premium for rent. So you might pay a lot of money just to rent a room, just to rent an apartment, just to rent a house, or you might even be paying mortgage. And I feel like a significant chunk of your money, of your income, is going towards, lodging, like lodging accommodations and things like that. And then others, you might just have like a big family, extended family members, many generations of people living under the same roof. Or you might have, a lot of children. I'm seeing energies of a lot of people around your housing environment. And I'm sensing that, there might be some things, like last minute things, where there is a necessary, I don't want to say necessary, I feel like it's more mandatory, something unexpected expenditures within your household. So there has been, a lot of cases of just strange weather patterns overall. So I feel like, unexpected repairs needed for the house. So I'm seeing, torrential rain. I'm seeing like water damage. I'm even seeing like repairs for fences, or even strengthening the fence. So I feel like there's some unexpected expenditures that is necessary in order to, upkeep and maintain the house, the living environment that you're in. So I feel like you want to be a little bit careful when it comes to spending. Just set aside some savings just in case this happens. Okay, it's right next to the Tower. The fourth house deals with family, and it's also right next to the Tower and the Hermit. So I feel like there might be some unexpected news when it comes to the physical structure of the house, or even some physical structure of somebody's body. So that could be fall, scrapes, twisting of joints, things like that. So I feel like you want to set aside, save as much as possible, and try not to resort to, frivolous spending for this month especially. Okay, so that's just something to keep an eye out for. And so because a lot of money is going towards, this house situation, I feel like for some of you who might be doing more of a freelance work, it seems to me like there is a major awakening, like a wake up call. And it's bringing about a lot of fear and anxiety. And you might feel like, oh my gosh, you didn't anticipate this expenditure. But now that it's on the table and I feel like some of you have the money to cover it, but you're just like, what if it happens again? So I feel like there's this big, big push for you to really re-examine how you're making your money, whether or not it is sustainable long term. So should I keep, doing this freelance work? It's fun, it's exciting, but it's kind of, um, the money situation fluctuates from one month to the next, or should I get into the regular 9 to 5 job where I have to start from the bottom and work my way up? So I feel like these are major important issues that are coming through either way, but it's coming through this month specifically so that you can, figure out what you need to do. So I do see some long-term planning when it comes to your career. That is in order for this month, okay? It seems like the career track is a little bit of a soft spot for those of you who are doing freelance. You're right here, but you want to be here. And I feel like because we have here the Three of Swords in the career sector, it's almost like there might have been opportunities in the past that for whatever reason didn't pan out, or there might have been, I'm just going to say for a few of you, it seems almost as if you were, on track to a specific career path, and there might have been bad decisions made and also some detours along the way that prevented you from continuing down this career path. It could be health issues from your end that prevented you from pursuing, climbing that corporate ladder. It might have been something external, such as, whatever the situation was, the circumstances was, might have been some restructuring within the company and they had to let you go, or just bad decisions. I feel I'm seeing like some regret and sadness here associated with this card. It's sort of like 3 years ago, I could have, been here, but I took a wrong path, or I took like a different path. And now I'm making money, but it's not exactly my career path. So I feel like you're trying to get yourself back on track. You're trying to realign yourself, and you're trying to, seriously do some long-term planning, which I feel is going to be really good for you. So don't shy away from this. It's a little bit uncomfortable, Leos, but you will get through it. Okay, you will get through it. And it's just really important not to ignore it and try to, lay down that career path for yourself and see where you're headed. All right. You will get through it. You're very strong. And I feel like just initially the energy comes in. It feels to me to be quite uncomfortable, but I do feel that things will clear itself up. And I'm sensing, the end of the month is a good time for things to clear up. Okay, that's when, the sun is going to shift into the constellation of Aries. And in a fellow fire sign, I feel like you're going to have a lot more traction, momentum, and especially a better sense of direction. Okay, so the first half of March is more like re-examination. And I felt that energy coming through for all the other signs that I've done the reading for so far. So that's more than six signs. So I feel like the energy for the Piscean energy is very, very uncomfortable. It's forcing us to re-examine things that we'd rather forget about because of that watery, very transient energy. So I feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable the first, I would say the first 3 weeks, but after that, I feel you're going to have a better sense of direction. Okay. So a re-examination is necessary, but even then, I feel that you need to have a game plan when it comes to the long-term trajectory of your career. Okay, it's very important that you start thinking about this now, because I feel like many of you have people depending on you, elderly parents, children, in-laws, etc. I feel like there's there's a lot riding on this decision. So you're not making this decision just for yourself. A few of you might, but I feel like majority of you, there are, legitimate things that you can't afford to lose, such as, your housing situation, a business, for example. So you're trying to figure out what to do right now in terms of your long-term career. Um, for those of you who are paying a really, really high rent, try to see if you can shift into subletting, subleasing. It's not always comfortable when you have to share space with another person, but it feels to me like somebody is paying a lot for rent, and there might be like a rent increase as well. There might be a rent increase, and I'm inclined to say that, you want to check to make sure that it is within the legal limits, rather than the other person just wants, the space, the owner just wants the space and they wrongfully evict you. So just be very careful. Do a little bit of digging to see if, if they're within their rights to raise the rent a certain amount. Okay, so I do sense that coming through for a very small minority of you guys. The last thing here is we have the chariot in your 12th house, and the chariot in your 12th house basically is the 12th house is the house of secrets, and we have some trips being taken here, and things that might be coming into the picture that you're not aware of just yet. There will be growth, there will be movement, there will be momentum, but I feel like it's really important for you to have a strategy, have a game plan laid out before you start pushing forward. Okay, so I would say the first 3 weeks, lay down a game plan, and then the last week you can figure out, how to execute those plans. Okay, so I feel that it's going to be successful, so don't worry about it. And I feel like some of you are planning a trip as well, and you might be traveling with another person. You might be traveling to see another person, or you might be traveling with another person, throughout the trip. So I'm feeling here an air sign, so an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, sun, moon, or rising. And I feel like I feel the trip is going to happen. So if you're in the preliminary stages and you're just like, is it or is it not? I would say block out those days. It's going to happen for you, and it's going to be a very refreshing thing for you to do. Okay. And actually, there's another message coming through here in terms of in terms of like communicating with others. Okay. I have a card here that indicates reading between the lines, digging a little bit deeper, figuring out what people mean. Okay, so there are things that are said, but what is the underlying message? What is the true intentions of what was being said? I feel like some of you, especially those of you who are single right now, I feel like you have recently broken off a relationship, or you might have broken up with somebody, or somebody might have recently broken up with you. So there is a something about, not getting the adequate answers that you need from a previous relationship partner. And I feel that you're still in battle mode. You're a little bit more defensive. So there might be communication coming through between you and them in friendly terms, but you're still self-protective. Like you're just like, what do they want exactly? So I do sense that coming through. And I feel like a recent breakup is still, like within the past 3 months, for example, it's still a little bit of a sore spot for you. Okay. And some of you in current existing relationships, let's talk about this. We have here the Lovers in the reverse. And I'm sensing, well, when it shows up in the reverse, it usually indicates some type of third party interfering in your relationship. So if this is an ongoing theme in your current existing relationship, I feel that it might resurface for this month. So be very careful. If it's coming from your end, definitely make sure that you don't invite, that opportunity. So if, for example, if you've been with, if you've been involved with, if you were talking outside of the relationship, I feel the temptation is going to be available, mainly because your career house is really lit up. And especially if that person is related to your work environment, just be very careful about temptation. I do feel office flirtation, a lot of just mingling in the same professional and also social circle. And I feel like, the propensity to meet someone great is there, but I feel that this is a month for you to really work on your career and your public image. So maybe getting involved might not be the best thing, especially if they're in your professional contact group. Okay. And others of you, just don't open the door for temptation. And if the temptation is coming through from your partner, if this has been a recurring thing, if it's something that you have been aware of in the past, then I do feel it is resurfacing. You need to hash it out with your partner, and you need to have this discussion and clear it up, clear the air once and for all, because it seems to me like something is cycling back in. Okay. And then for others, I feel like you're in a relationship where it's kind of like tapering off. It's coming to an inevitable end, and I feel that I feel that you have to come to terms with it, accept it, and figure out, how do we both move on? Okay, so there are a lot of things that needs to be ironed out, straightened out, strategized for, and a lot of solid plans that need to be